Good afternoon and welcome to the Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms live stream. My name is Dylan and I just need the computer and the desk and probably knocked all my cameras silly, so that's sweet. I hope you're all doing well. Seems like there's quite a few of you already in the channel, which is impressive. Talking about getting hyped for tonight's Critical Role like we do on every Thursday. Now that it's back on. So yes, hi, Obo Crazy, Cherry Baby, 2329, Sornigan, Fates Clown, Garwar, Wolfbane. Why must I sign in? Yeah, welcome. I'm lost in a white wilderness because this is like the basic default background for Codename Entertainment that we used for our stream for when we did Extra Life last year, and we haven't gotten around to putting together an Idle Champions specific background for this part, and so yeah, just kind of trucking along with it. Probably not going to use it forever, but using it now. Top of the morning to you too, Candyman. Westpaw 505. Oh, Ruin 1975 subbed right on. Welcome. So we have a few things we're going to go over today, and then we have something kind of special planned that we've been hoping to do for a while. There was a Reddit Q&A yesterday that was pretty busy, but the majority of the questions could probably be lumped in just a handful of categories, and so we'll go over that briefly. And then later, we are lucky to have the one and only Kat joining us to do some live drawing on stream, which we haven't done before, so this will totally go perfectly. Did not just spend a bunch of time trying to get that set up in here at the last minute. Yeah. Kitty kitty big butt. I know our logo does only cover a half hour, and it's always been that way. When we first started our stream, we were doing just under an hour, and then when we did move it up to 2, it just hasn't been updated yet. But I'm sure they'll get around to it. What was that? Vexior, Fulgrin, Salter, Zacia, Deadite Prime, Silisa, HRCCC. Welcome to the stream. So as you may have noticed, there is a code just over there for a gold Regis chest, which will be probably the last one of those we give away. But that stream code is active until tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. Pacific. It's Friday, February 2nd, since it's now February. So be sure to turn that in sooner rather than later. I'm going to switch over to the game view in a second here. I am doing the Dead Winter Payback, I think it's called, the last variant for Midwinter. Just going to wrap that up on stream. Keptiz, Kalnazar, Terra Rock, Adventures of Tony, Magenta Shirt, Portland Ace, welcome back. Okay, I'm just going to switch over to the game view now because, I mean, as entertaining as my face is, the game is probably a little more entertaining. Oh, join the stream, and totally. So as you can see here, I don't have my auto progression on, but I'll turn that back on. That was intentional because I didn't want it to accidentally complete when I wasn't paying attention. Oh, Axis. Yes, I did miss you, Axis. Welcome. Yeah, so let's see. Where do we want to begin? I think the first thing is going to be going over the Reddit Q&A, just because there are a number of questions that have been coming up repeatedly, and you know, and we'll continue to answer them. That's not a problem. But you know, the more we can get everybody on the same page, the better. And so, you know, if it's something about potions, chests, items, loot boxes, anything related to the gold chest opening system we have in game, for the record, right at the moment, you know, like right now, as of 1:04 p.m. Pacific on Thursday, the 1st of February, we can say that like the chest opening experience is not where it needs to be right now, but we do have plans in motion to address some of the key concerns around our in-game chests, and players should keep an eye out for more information soon. I don't have more about that to share yet, but we will have more to share, and we really look forward to bringing that forward when we have something more substantial to talk about. And then another question that comes up repeatedly, they're always related to champion balance and like useless champion items, or at least currently perceived to be useless champion items. And it's one of those things where when it comes to balancing champions, which is you know, it's a very serious subject for us, and it's a very challenging thing to do. You know, it's important to keep in mind that we're approaching all this over the long term. Like, we're looking at the whole year. And, you know, if, for example, when he was released, Dritz was the de facto best DPS in the game, you know, what would that mean for any future DPS released, given that there are more Companions of the Hall to come? So, you know, like, his buff is going to continue to grow because it gets buffed based on the Companions of the Hall. And now, that said, while we do design with the long term in mind, we also acknowledge that there are champions we're not happy with right now, that don't feel great, or they aren't quite meeting the design criteria that we have. And we are looking at ways of making them viable. And while I don't have an ETA on when that's going to happen, when the next balancing pass will come out, it is coming. Like, I can say that, you know, these champions will be updated. And finally, this is one of my favorite questions because I like to bring it up with Dave at every given opportunity, regarding our offline gold and favor gain. You know, it's on our list of priorities. You know, I don't have an ETA for when it's going to be addressed, and obviously everything is always in flux, which is one of the reasons why we've never promised when something is going to change. But yeah, it's kind of it comes up a lot, as it should, and it's totally okay to keep reminding us of it. We will get to it. We will get to addressing the offline gold gain. It is not as simple as it is perceived to be, is the only thing I can really share about it. I just see that somebody is asking about buff Delana. Yeah, I like Delana. Delana could use a buff. Oh, there's discussion about it in chat already. Let me pull that up because I can only see so much of it from where I am. So I don't know how many of you were with us from the beginning, but I complained and complained about the fact that I only had one screen to work with, and I needed to be able to see more information. And what has happened is we got another screen and all was good, but because we're setting up this this live art drawing to start in, like, I don't know, 45-50 minutes now, that's taking up that screen, so I'm back down to one, so that's great. Good afternoon to you too, Lucothia. Oh yeah, there's still people joining. Welcome. So yeah, it's kind of I'm back to like scrambling to be able to see all the information I need to see. So like I have a small chat window for a quarter of the screen. I have the questions list for a quarter of the screen. I have my live stream thing for chatting with Erica taking up a quarter of the screen. I have XSplit taking up a quarter of the screen. I have the game window that I'm tabbing between. Faison asking if my Asmar cleric died. My cleric did not die. I'm playing in 2 games right now. One of them is the game with my Shadarkai Warlock, and the other one is my game with my Azamar Cleric. They're both alive and well currently, although the Azamar is playing in a campaign with a pretty ruthless DM, so there's always a chance that that one will not make it. But hey, you know, that's what rolling new characters is for, right? Oh, got another question from Silisa. Are you happy with the final event variant in that Calliope can do a better job of mitigating the damage for the team rather than Regis? But if Calliope didn't, what then? Like, how much of a struggle would this be if there weren't other characters that can heal? Regis mitigates damage and is available before Calliope. Like, how would you start? You know, I don't know. It's just I don't think it's an issue. I think it's really fantastic, and you know, Calliope gets to be the star in a way that Regis isn't for it, which, you know, maybe isn't the best thing, but Calliope kicks ass, so no complaints there. Oh, looks like I can unlock Jamila. Sweet. Maybe get some levels in everybody else here. I mean, you know, Barrowan I have in the front row just because she's healing it. And then there's shields everywhere and Regis mitigating damage, and it just, I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic that I won't have to do a lot to idle my way through to 175. Now that being said, Silisa, obviously we want every individual champion to shine when they can, and having them shine during their events is ideal. You know, but I don't have any complaints about how this has gone so far. I think it's great. What else we got? What else we got for questions? Woody Man here asking where you find the code for the free chest. It's in the corner to your left, my right, just there in the corner of the screen. It's a Ruby Loot giveaway, not to be confused with a Rudy Woot giveaway, which would be a totally different thing. And if anybody's wondering how you do that, I'm just gonna go into the shop menu and do that now. What is it? Ruby Loot? God, I hate this keyboard. I'm still getting used to it. Boom. Gold Regis chest. Should I open that now? Might as well. Nothing purple. Upgrades are upgrades. Okay, so what else? What do we got? Let's see. So many people joining today. This is wonderful. Code is covered by the stuff on the bottom left. No. None of these things show up over top of that screen. Like, the code is out front, so if you're having problems viewing the code in the bottom left corner of the screen, that's going to be something on your end. I would never dream of preventing people from being able to read their code. Alright, we got another question. Another one from Silisa. Will Codename be changing Regis's ultimate? It's rather useless to anyone but the DPS, but the DPS will already have his specific buff if you're using Regis. You know, that's interesting. That's not the first time that feedback has come up, and it's something that's been passed along internally. And you know, it's just it's getting looked at. I can't promise that there's anything happening with it in the near future, but yeah. Oh, the pause symbol on the volume. Oh, yeah. I can't do anything about that. It's silly Twitch. If your mouse isn't active on that screen, those should disappear though. So that would probably help. Anyway, so Lisa, that has been passed along. It's just another balancing thing. Like we get to it. Kitty Big Butt. Can you spend the 8K in gems on next Thursday's stream? Oh, you want to watch me spend my gems? I could do that. What am I at? 8,090. Yeah, sure. I'll do that. I'll spend that next week. Was it Thursday the 8th? Will do. I'll make a note about that too. Let's see. Judor Darkguard. Are past heroes still planned to be released only annually? Or might it be more frequently and possibilities to get loot for them off event? This is a good question. And it relates to a number of questions related to event champions that come up. We haven't found a way that we like for setting it up so that you can get past champions. So far, the only thing that we've done is, you know, during one of our weekend promotions where we did our wonderful winter weekend, it was possible to get Dadius loot outside of his event, just through those chests. But you know, we are planning to have it possible that you can get event champions outside of events, and we just haven't. That hasn't taken a shape on our end yet. So it's on our radar and it's on our list. We just haven't figured out how we want to do it. Grey Hex. Can we use the up and down arrows to activate the clear UI? It would be easier than clicking the arrow in the upper left corner. Also, could we have 3 tiers on the UI, like normal, progress bar, and area R3 clean? Those are very good questions for Dave, and I'm not quite sure I understand what it is specifically that you're activating. So you're wanting to be able to do the part where you clear the top screen with a hotkey? I'll just make a note to pass this along to Dave, and maybe we can have a look at that. PB and Jotter. Do event shinies have the same drop rate as non-event chests? As far as I'm aware, they do. I don't think there's any special criteria for it. The only thing is you're guaranteed to get shinies for your event champion just because the loot is all going to be from the event champion. I seem to have blown all of my luck all at once because after not getting shinies for months, I got 2 on Regis so far, although they vary in usefulness. Alright, what do we got? Xanthox, do you still have Calliope do Valor for this quest, or do you go lore? All damage all the time. The shield that Calliope puts out is more than adequate to handle what's going on in this. Downing? Suggestion, make listed DPS include Barrowin buff for ultimate attack calculation purposes. I don't there have been some changes recently around how Barrowin's buff works with ultimate abilities, so I'm not sure that that will happen. But I could certainly follow up with the design team to get a better idea of what that means right now. Fate's Clown. What champions have attacks that count as ranged as it pertains to Regis's special abilities? As opposed to magical? That's a good question. You know, because it's something that I genuinely have not looked into. I would think that the only one would be a Calliope right now, because Ashara and Dadius and Makos, they all use spell cantrips for their basic ability. So I will get that info just to confirm it. Because yeah, we don't have any archers, for example, in the game yet. So it's a good point. Let's see, Portland Ace. Who's your pick for the Super Bowl? Clam chowder or Phillies? So I don't follow football at all. And I'm one of those people who, when I do watch the Super Bowl, it's like with a bunch of hardcore football friends. And I just eat and watch the commercials because it seems like everybody puts all their creativity and budget into the commercials for one event a year instead of having them periodically. So I don't have a pick. I haven't got the slightest idea at all. Yeah, but if one of them has won before, like, I don't know, which one is Tom Brady playing? Is he going to win another one? Yeah, sorry, Portland Days, but I got nothing. Can we talk about hockey? Anyways. All right. Yolar Bene Beckler. Can you put chests on Steam DLC store section so we can sell useless trading cards dropped from the game and buy them with in-Steam money? I don't know that we've ever considered putting chests on the Steam store that way, especially since with the way that Steam DLC works, you can't repurchase something. So if there were chests available that way, you wouldn't be able to buy them more than once. Like, just as an example, like if you purchase the Force Grey DLC, or the Bruner starter pack, or the Calliope one, or whatever, you can't get it again, just because of the way that Steam works. So I don't know that will happen, but I will make a note to pass that along. I mean, certainly, if it ends up generating a bunch of sales for Codename, that would make people really happy, because that's the thing with free-to-play games is not everybody has to pay to play. So if people want to give us more money, we would love that. All right, Main EAC 126. What's the deal with sometimes silver chests drop from bosses and having a gold glowing hue about them? Does this play a part in why so many people haven't gotten a gold chest from a boss in over 10 days, who do at least 3 200 plus resets daily? My understanding is that the gold chest drop rate is it's low. Oh, excuse me. So it's kind of an RNG thing. Like, I've had very long periods of time where I haven't received one, and then all of a sudden I'll idle through a bunch of runs in a day and I'll check and I'll have several. So certainly I can possibly follow up with the design team to see if there's something to that, but I don't know that there's an issue there. A Maniac. Specs Marina. Is the Halfling Champion any good, or should I play the normal adventures? Installed the game 2 hours ago. Hello, everyone. The Halfling Champion is very good, though perhaps depending on what kind of gear you have for Celeste, maybe not as good as Celeste. But he's a very strong champion that is finding a niche for some players, and it depends on your equipment. But the biggest reason to play the events is that you are able to generate favor for your chosen campaign much faster than if you're not playing it. It kind of caps out at a point, but yeah, you're able to get quite a lot of favor. So that's the biggest reason. And then obviously it's easier to gear up an event champion quickly than somebody else, just because all the loot in event chests goes towards just the one champion currently. Captain CRC, any update or feedback on the borderless window mode? No update. I passed it along, and it's certainly something. It's just another tidbit on the UI list. I would love to be able to spoil things and show like the list of all the things that we're trying to work our way through right now, but I can't, except to say that is on there. Yeah. So Captain CRC, I don't know when I'll have an update for you, but there will be an update for you at some point. Neo Yoshi Gaming, are there plans to update the character art at any time within the game's life? Can you be more specific? Like, are you meaning the characters just on as they are on screen? Or do you mean their portraits? Do you are you thinking cosmetics? The topic of cosmetic changes comes up quite a bit for us, and it's something that I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Our artists are crazy busy, and with the way that our production schedule is currently set up and the cadence with which we're putting out content, they stay very busy. And so doing something that would be purely cosmetic and not adding to the content of the game or being driven towards something that it's like it's kind of a low priority. But that being said, if the overwhelming feedback we get from our community on a regular basis is like, hey, we want cosmetic stuff, when are we getting cosmetic stuff? Hey, I really want to be able to do such and such. Just keep badgering us, keep telling us, because eventually, if it's something that the community is passionate enough about, then that's a change that can be driven by the community. So you have the power on that one. Moose Changer Pat, can we see what gear you have for Regis? Yes. So I've been having a really good time with Regis. Crazy lucky. Rocking the obviously the golden shiny item that comes through the purchase, which is crazy good and is what allows you to compete with Celeste with them. And then it's like rare for his dagger. A purple shiny for his ruby encouragement, which is the reason that I tend to use him just as often as Celeste, sometimes more so depending on my setup. And then a rare fillet o knuckhead. I keep wanting to say knucklehead with that one. An epic halfling's bag of stashing, and then a blue shiny fashionable beret. I think he's the only character for me that has 2 shinies. Yeah, he is. And it's the only 2 shinies I've had in the last few months have gone to him. 2 months? 1 or 2 months. So, yeah, no, my Regis is looking good so far. Now, that being said, in a lot of circumstances, because I have a Celeste that has the gold shiny epic, and Celeste is just such an amazing buffer, there are frequently setups with my group where I end up using her instead. Juganagara, how do you say that name? Juganegadari? Juganegadari? Demo the damage symbols. What do you mean? Lucuthia, Regis is RN Jesus. For me, yes. That's definitely not happening to everybody. And it's one of those things like, you know, you can talk about ideal formations and your group makeup until the cows come home, but like it doesn't apply to everybody just because, you know, new players certainly don't have that level of equipment, and then like players who've put a ton of time in and have like, you know, at the very least rare or epic gear on every slot, like we're just in a completely different place. You know, so sometimes that advice does not apply. Anyways, the damage symbols. Oh, Regis. So like the Ruby encouragement and the Ruby weakness, and like how that works. Because like he's buffing those in front right now, but and I think I have him set to buff melee, so he's actually not. All right, that's what I need to do. Derp. Just ignore me. I'm a bad player who hasn't been paying enough attention, but I should be having Jamila there, and then there we go. Because then the icons will actually start to show up. At least they should. Anywho, Robin be Christ. Any Steam trading cards planned for Idle? Yes. It's on the list. I don't know at this point what is holding. I'm not sure why we haven't finished it yet. Like I'm not clear on what part of the process we're in, but that is something that is in progress. So perhaps, because that's a Dave project, the next time Dave is on stream, we can ask him about it if it hasn't already come out at that point. Dunatis 2K. Any plans to have free plays with restrictions, deities that will only give favor to certain alignments? That's an interesting idea. So the topic of free plays and the fact that many of our variants you can only play one time comes up on a regular basis, and it's something that when Justin was on stream, he talked about how, you know, certainly we want to be able to reuse some of these things. So yeah, like I don't know what shape that will take, but it is something that is on our radar, and I'm just going to make another note about it here so that I can pass it along to the team again. BioGyver, any plans in the future for co-op implementation? No. Darkfire Savior, speaking of weekly badgering, any word on the Fallen Azamar Hexblade Warlock? As in a character that we need to do? Hold on a second. Oh, still like not quite cleared up. Good lord. Office plague. As in like a new character? Or are you asking about my characters? Because yeah, they're both alive and well doing completely different things. My Warlock is doing Curse of Strahd, and my Azamar is doing Tomb of Annihilation. Yeah, so Darkfire Savior, if there's another answer that you're looking for there, and I suspect you might be, feel free to ask. Vegas VR. Do you think a one-slot character creation option would be something done in the future? This is another question that comes up a lot. You know, certainly in the spirit of D&D, being able to customize one character for you is something that a lot of people are passionate about. I don't know that it's something that we will do. You know, it's a very good question for Justin, because it's I can't speak with enough knowledge about how the game fits together to be able to answer that more than to say that, you know, it's something that we haven't considered. You know, so that's a very good Justin question, and you know, perhaps the next time on stream he can answer that. Pete is lying. Does it bother you that Regis has a beret and doesn't wear it? Yes, because it's a beret that can never fall off ever. I don't know how many of you have either read books or at least read the wiki for Regis, but like it's a beret that stays on his head no matter what's going on. So it's irksome, but at the same time, like you wouldn't be able to see his wonderful, you know, kind of like wavy curled, sandy blonde brown hair with the beret on it. That would hide that extra feature that our audience totally found before the game went live and then we fixed. Thanks again for that, by the way. Bruce Guzmo. Hitch is the base damage. What are his equipments? So I don't usually use a Hitch for my DPS. I just had him in place until I unlocked Jamila, because Jamila can accept all of the buffs. But my Hitch is doing good. I got the shiny sticky boots, the gold epic cape from the DLC, and then a couple other alt-related epics that I don't tend to use as much, and then his DPS dagger. So still missing a couple purples, but that's fine. We'll get there eventually. Perhaps next week when I open my score of chests from all the gems. Greyhex, don't you feel the events are too close by? I mean, they could be spaced up to have more time to finish the normal campaigns. I don't. Personally, I always like to have if it was possible to have an event going always. That would be my preference, but we tend to do breathers both for updates, for adding variants and other expansions of the main campaigns, and certainly we have quite a few more updates to the current 2 campaigns in the game, the Tomb of Annihilation and Grand Tour of the Sword Coast, that are going to come out. And so we just kind of we have a release schedule with a cadence for that tends to work out to about an event a month. Without more than usually a 2-week gap in between them, and that feels like the right pace to me. It's not interrupting the number of updates that come out for the main campaign, if that's what you're wondering. It's just events give a real immediacy to playing. It's something that you can do for a limited time. You have so much time to unlock that character and get them geared up and try out new things and so on. So it's an incentive to stay active. Follow up to question. Okay, Neo Yoshi Gaming. Sorry about how I phrased the question. I don't really mean cosmetic. I meant more in animation art quality. It's not an easy question to convey in a short sentence. I'm a comic and concept artist, and I sometimes feel like there could be a bit more when I look at certain visual aspects on character animation. But because it looks like you folks use Flash-based art, these things would have to be done by hand. So we do use Flash-based art, and everything you see is drawn by hand. We have a pretty talented team of artists working here, and it's really fun to, every time I go to the bathroom, I slowly walk by their screens to see what they're drawing right now, just creeping on them a little bit. So if you're thinking about are the characters going to get touched up further, I'm not sure. We're certainly really happy with how they look right now and the level of detail that they have right now in game. When they get blown up to larger sizes, then they start to look a little different. But I don't know that we have any plans to change anything. Ooh, does my Jamila have 4 buffs? Oh, sweet. God, yeah, hitting way harder. So yeah, I don't know that we're going to change the aesthetic currently, or have any kind of artistic update to the characters that are already being released. Yeah. Alrighty, Matt Nerwin. Are there plans to replay past episodes for us new players to get old characters? So keeping in mind that all things can change, and that priorities can shift, the intent is for us to have annual events, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every event will be annual. We will definitely have future ways to unlock champions that have been missed, but that may take a different shape. So that might be High Harvest Tide 2. That might be a different event. We'll just have to see. It's none of these things are written in stone yet, which is one of the reasons why we're often reluctant to talk about them too much. But yes, new players will definitely, at some point, be able to get characters that have been missed. I'm just gonna do some leveling up here. There we go. Just kind of keep them trucking away. Baron Stromgard. Why does that name ring a bell to me? Stromgard, isn't it? That's a WoW keep, isn't it? Okay, why are chest levels reduced when an item upgrades to a new rarity level? If you open 3 chests that drop on an empty slot, the item will be higher level if you roll purple, blue, white than if you open white, blue, purple. It discourages opening silver chests until you have purples in all slots. So every item that you open contributes to the overall level of the item. So if it's going backwards, that might be something that we need to look at. So I'm just going to make a note here. Route Jarvie. Hello Dylan, have you guys thought about doing an in-game sale on gold chests? I mean the chests you buy for gems. I think it could be a nice boost for both new players and players who have played the game for a couple of months. All things are possible when it comes to the idea of sales and you know, but you know, I should stop myself because I don't want to unintentionally spoil anything. But yeah, that's a nice note that I will pass along. I know you guys can all hear me every time I click because this mechanical keyboard has, I'm pretty sure it's cherry red switches and they're just like, they're loud. So apologies for that, but it cannot be helped. Pedal Stomper. Any chance on getting a clearer definition of what characters meet Ashara's buffs? Like who is a tiefling really? And race would Ashara actually fall under in that buff as well? So Ashara is an Arakocra, so she doesn't buff herself. But if you look in the screen, every character has their race. So you can go through, most of them are human because Faerun and the Sword Coast especially is just filled with humans, so there's lots of them. But yes, the race of each character is accessible in their screen, so that will help you make your decisions there. And before you ask, it is not the intention to have Ashara buff every single type of character. Because then you would literally never have a reason to switch her out. How did my Naeli get killed? Oh, just took too much damage. Didn't get buffed fast enough. Man, these variants. Should I do booming voice? Would that help? No. Still gonna go DPS. DPS all the way, forever. All right. Ministress. Ministress? Is it Ministress or Mini-Stress? That green line showing who is being used in formation is so thin. Can you make it thicker or maybe put a yellow bar under their card? It's just so hard to see when my window is tiny. Okay, so you're referring to the line in the bar. Yeah, I'll make a note there. That's a good UI thing just for in terms of visibility. And it also fits in with some other stuff that we're looking at, so yeah. Okay. Skoin. For someone who has never played D&D, there's a lack of bio or information as to who is who. I know about the bio when you click on the champion, but it's very limited. So for someone who isn't well informed about D&D, this is a huge disconnect compared to people who have played or know about D&D. Okay, I'll make a note about that. You know, I'll add that to the list because in the past we've talked about things like the fact that our bios, for example, how does Naeli keep dropping so quickly? Jeez, it's just taking too much damage too fast. Do I need to shift Naeli's spot? Is Naeli not getting the shield? Is that what's going on? Naeli's not getting the shield. Oh. Oh no, there it is. It's just the timing of when things die. Jeez. I over-leveled Nay. Ah, right. The health pool is too high, so it's... yeah, that makes sense. Whoops. Alright, well, anyways. Alright. Nimanva. Is there something in the game that balances out the fact that Krond has 2 useless item slots at all times? That is a very good point, and something that is like written out almost in a very similar way in our notes for our champion buffing. I don't know when we'll get around to fixing it, but it will be fixed. So yeah, poor Krond. Deadite Prime. Does Bash target a random enemy or what? It's unspecified. It's random. Yeah. It's not the nearest or anything like that. It's just it's a random enemy. Ant Musical. Are those silver shiny ones better than the purple golden ones? I've yet to receive a silver shiny piece of loot. No. So what a silver shiny does is it increases that buff by half. whereas a gold shiny doubles it. So silver shinies are not quite as good as golds. Thantanos. Oh, welcome, Thantanos. I didn't catch that you were here. How many golds will the average champion end up with? Is 2 a good idea of the average you guys will release? I don't know that is set. There's obviously Jamila has both the sword and boots available if you were quick to get the promo when that went live. And then obviously Brunner as well has both his axe and then his DLC. I don't know that we have a specific criteria for how many of each we will do. But certainly the intention is not to, for example, release 3 or 4 for Jamila before anybody else gets 2, because you would never switch from her ever. So yeah, it's kind of I can ask if I can get more criteria about that one, but I don't know that we will. So yeah. Pilot playing. I think you need to explain what is a Fey monster. I mean, Minsk's specialization needs to be more clear. Never played D&D before, and I can't even find it on Google. Okay, so this is an issue on our... This is kind of our fault in that because there is no bestiary in game, and because there is no way to know what monster type a monster is without knowing the monster manual, it's not communicated as effectively as it could be. The only thing that you know for sure is that when an enemy is being targeted by Minsk's favored enemy buff, you can see the little red outline with the skull underneath them. We've talked about a few different things for this to solve it, including things like if you mouse over an enemy, it says what enemy type they are. But I don't know what shape that will take in its final form. In the meantime, trial and error is a terrible way to approach it, but we follow the monster manual very, very closely. Part of being a D&D licensed game and part of getting their approval for a lot of the things that come out. So if you consult the monster manual, whatever the monster type is for something, that's what it will be in game as well, up to and including things like enemies being monstrous instead of beasts, when they might logically be one or the other. God, this room is dusty. Okay, next questions. Creep Flyer. I'm just gonna read this and take a sip. Will achievements get a more clear explanation of what is missing? For example, the event achievement to use Regis's 6 combinations. At one point, I didn't remember what was the last one I was missing, and I had to reset until I got what was needed. It's an interesting point, Creep Flyer. I'm going to make a note about that because once again, it falls under the category of like the communication on our end. Because yeah, it doesn't make it easy for you. I know that when I was approaching that objective, I did them in an order over the course of 6 resets just to make sure that I got it right. Because yeah, if you forget or you don't get it, then you forget. Triconen, whose responsibility is it to dust the room? So, funny story, and this contributes to it. So, the way that our streaming room is set up, I mean, obviously there's a green screen behind me, but there's like soundproofing off to either side, and like this is probably a room that's like maybe 10 feet by 10 feet square, and the ceilings are about 7 feet up. The ventilation in this room is poor, which doesn't help, and on top of that, the ventilation in our office is poor, and so like it's a little dustier in here than I would prefer. Certainly, given that everybody who has come through this office has been sick, except I think Michelle. I think Michelle is the only person who hasn't been like knocked out for a day or two being sick. Maybe Justin as well, and the other 15, 16 of us have just all spent time at home. Ill. So it's like, yeah, so it's a little dusty in here. But the other thing is that work was being done in this room just a couple of days ago because the only roof access for the building is from this room. And so we have to move all of our streaming equipment aside, and they lift the ceiling panels out and set up a ladder, and they climb up to the roof, and then they were doing a ton of work. That also didn't help. Like they did some vacuuming afterwards, but yeah, it's God, I would love to have better ventilation in here, because as soon as I get in here, my sinuses close, and like you can hear me, I'm a little nasally compared to how I would normally be. So, yeah. All right. Next question, Kraux. Would it be possible to add your own character to your roster? Yeah. Again, I don't know that we're planning to do that. And just off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to mind for me personally is that because Thanatos, you asked a very good question. I'll get to that in a second. So because of the way that the game is balanced, if you were able to customize your character and every player could do something perceivably different, like let's say that there were as many options as the player's handbook, the base player's handbook for 5e, it would make balancing the game so much more difficult. And it would also make diagnosing things much more difficult, because then we would need to know everything about that character that you've set up for yourself in order to diagnose anything related to an issue that you have with, a buff not showing up right or whatever, because we would be adding to that checklist, and it was just it would complicate things so much further. So yeah, base player's handbook. Yeah, the player's handbook, the only one, the one for 5th edition, because obviously there's several other editions. Yeah, so I don't know that we will ever do a custom champion. Now that said, I don't know how many things are written in stone. If this is something that everybody asks us every week forever, there's always a chance. Don't tell Justin I said that, though. All right, Lisa, question: what are you drinking? That one is a Coke Zero. That, and there's a water beside it. Yeah, drinking a lot of water. Why must I sign in? Are you going to add timestamps to in-game chat? I don't know that it's on our list, but I will make a note and pass that along. OMFG Torah. There are often a lot of UI suggestions. How much time and effort does the team devote to UI changes? I can't really speak to the developer's workload, but to give you an idea, so let's see. Right now we have Kat working on portraits and icons for everything. We have Alexis doing backgrounds. We have Michelle doing monsters, and we have Adam doing character art and everything in between, filling the gaps and doing UI stuff. So that's our team. And then we have Mark, Peter, Justin, Dave, and Jacob, our new co-op, all working on dev-related things for Idle Champions. Now, how that ratio works out in terms of UI versus inventing new characters and balances and bug fixing and so on, I can't really speak to that, because we're a pretty small team and people fill lots of roles. So sometimes Dave is answering tickets, sometimes he's developing something, sometimes he's doing whatever. So it kind of varies. But our team is small. That's really it. If we had another 50 people working on the game, we would certainly get through a lot more stuff faster. But yeah, so yeah, I can't really speak to how much time and effort, but we do not have a massive team. And if you're thinking in your head, you're like, well, there's more people than that at Codename. It's yeah, but it's that we have a team of people working on Crusaders of the Lost Idols and a team of people working on Bushwhacker 2 as well. So it's live servicing a game and keeping things going requires a continued effort. Thanatos, thank you for your earlier answer. No worries. Do we know if the old D&D cartoon champions will make it into the game? That's a very good question. What can I say about it? I can say that if that were to happen, there would likely be some changes, because never mind the nostalgia. Thinking back to those characters specifically, they were all kids, and I don't know that they would still be just children if they ever made the journey into Idle Champions. Yeah, but I can say Wizards does own them, and that's probably all I can say about them. Yeah. Genosos EUW. I wonder if there are or could be statistics on who are the best idle champion players, like a high score and showing which formation they use. I have like 800 hours of play and would like to know what I could do better. So we've deliberately shied away from the idea of there being leaderboards or statistics or any ways that would have players compete, because this is very much a single player game. The best advice I can give you if you're wondering how you can do better or which formations the higher end players use, is to be active on the Discord or on the subreddit, or even the Steam forums. I haven't plugged the Discord yet today, but the Idle Champions Discord is discord.gg/idlechampions, and there are players in there like Silisa who probably off the top of their head know more about the game than I do, because they approach it and think about it in a completely different way. There are formations channels, there are channels for chess codes being shared, there are channels for discussion on the game. So I definitely recommend you look in there, and yeah, certainly if you're a new player, just diving into the community and asking questions, because there are a lot of helpful people in there who will answer them and do what they can to help you improve. Hybrid Dom. Where did you get inspiration for the current roster of champions? How do you find new champions to include? Well, we are lucky in that there's a few things that we're thinking about, because I can't speak to specifically why each character is there, but what I can say is that we are lucky that the Forgotten Realms is an extremely well thought out, documented, and written canonical universe. Like Faerun is massive. There's a ton of lore, a ton of history, and a crazy number of characters, many of whom are worthwhile to approach for champions in the game. Brunner was, I think, the first character that R.A. Salvatore created, which is one of the reasons why he is the de facto start character for everybody in every game. And then like characters like Dritz are very known. Minsk is very known. The Force Grey character is tied into the second season of Force Grey last year, as they went through the Tomb of Annihilation, and we knew that we were going to do a Tomb of Annihilation campaign, so those kind of fit. But beyond that, we look at what races we haven't had in game yet. We look at what classes are not represented yet or haven't been represented as much, and like we try to make sure that we are continuing to create a diversity of characters as they come in, which means that some characters that people might be expecting might be a little bit further off or closer off than they think. But yeah, we are lucky in that like there is no shortage of well-known kick-ass characters to add. I knew somebody would mention Deacon in chat. We love Deacon. He's not coming up next, but man, it would be really nice to add him, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's see. BioGyver, can anyone give me tips on how to beat the Deadwinter Day boss? He keeps healing himself. Yeah, so the Devourer is a frickin' nightmare that has been proving to be a problem for more players than the T-Rex, despite, I think the T-Rex, I think they're both about, the T-Rex is pretty hard too. The best thing you can do is time using Jamila's ultimate ability for right when he comes on screen, so that you get the full stun duration, to try and kill everything and the boss before he eats somebody and instantly kills them and heals himself up. Now, if you mess up that timing, you can clear the board and use a click potion, but I would just try again with the ultimate abilities, because the best way that I found to do it without using any potions or anything is to, if you're lucky, your champions will have cleared all the enemies as they come out and he's by himself. If you're not lucky, just time using Jamila's ult for right when he comes on screen and then nuke him with everything you got. Trey Kunin again. Poutine, yay or nay? I love poutine, but I have a mild sensitivity to lactose, and so depending on how I'm feeling, I either can or can't have it. Certainly you go to Montreal, anywhere in Quebec, Eastern Canada, you got to try it, because there's so many amazing, authentic poutines for using those cheese curds and stuff. But yeah, poutine's awesome, but it's something that I almost never eat. Bruce Guzmo. Bruce Guzmo? Idea, a monthly chest that costs 1,000 gems and gives you a relic. Relics are unique equipment per character that can be like poisoned arrows for an archer character, or a holy orb for Celeste, or there's some interesting ideas there. I'll take that feedback along and pass it along to the team, Bruce. Lisa, some people are reporting Devourer can be stunned via clicks, yet others cannot. Is it intended that his ability get delayed from clicks? Okay, so I was eavesdropping on our developers talking about this the other day, and I'm not sure where we are at now, but they were talking about the idea of having clicks delay him to a point and then stopping after that point. I don't know that we did that, so I can follow up, or I can try in a little bit here when I get to that point. Yeah, certainly because other enemies get stunned as you click them, like they kind of slow down or they don't function as fast. I believe the intention might be to have that happen with the boss, but I'm not sure if that's something that went through or not. I'm sorry I don't have a more helpful answer. Yes, I know that we've been talking about it, but I think it's one of those things where like you click a few times and like it delays it for like a second or two, and then does nothing. Let's see. Pedal Stomper. I keep seeing a line up and down across the scrolling background. Is this due to my resolution, or is this something that isn't placed properly on the game end? Oh, so you mean like a gap in the background? That's on us. Those aren't supposed to happen, and we try to limit them and remove them when possible. So if you know which specific area that was, in which adventure variant, whatever, please let us know, and it'll be on our list to fix. Terra Rock 1. I was just thinking, is there an archer or druid champion yet? If not, can there be? There is not yet in game. Yet. And that's all I can say. Montanus Maximus 89. Any chance you'll be adding Vox Machina to the team? Oh god, wouldn't it be nice? We would absolutely, totally, in every possible conceivable way, love to have Critical Role be a part of the game. It's a little above my pay grade. The most that I can say about it is that there are a lot of hoops to go through for that kind of thing. The same goes for Acquisitions Incorporated, or any of the other D&D groups that are done outside of Wizards of the Coast and are not owned by Wizards of the Coast. So there are legalities to consider and hoops to go through and a lot of things. So it's like, yeah, there's nothing we would love more. I don't know when or if that will happen. But yeah, I hope you're watching Critical Role tonight, because I will be. Deadite Prime. Why is Shadarkai Warlock not a code? It is 16 characters. That's a good point. Marin 0616. Can we get Midnight and Cyric as champions? I can't comment on champions that might or might not be coming. Cranky Frank. Does South Park present an accurate depiction of Canada? God, it's been so long since I've watched South Park. Certainly none of our heads are detached and floating above the rest of our jaws. No. But I think they do a fantastic job of poking fun at Canada. Yeah. Question. Chomp the Spear. I know he's not D&D, but can you put in a request for He-Man to be added to the game? Oh. Does Hasbro own He-Man, actually? Does Hasbro own He-Man? Because, if so, that might actually be possible. Yeah. That being said, I doubt it would ever happen either way. Like, let's say Hasbro does own He-Man, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because they seem to own so many things. He-Man is not from Faerun, or as far as I know, in any way a part of the canon of the whole D&D multiverse of worlds. So I doubt he would be there anyways. Otherwise, like, what would stop us from putting Optimus Prime in. I mean, Optimus Prime is owned by Hasbro, right? Like, so we care about the integrity of our universe and our game, and we care about it a lot. But nobody cares about it more than Wizards does, and they would just. I don't think they're ever going to let us mess with that kind of thing. Anyways, so I'm about to be joined by Kat, our portrait specialist. I'm just gonna move a couple things around so that Kat can take over. Alrighty, switch to the game view momentarily. You're kind of chopped off a little bit. This freaking thing that got moved in here prevents me from moving over comfortably. But I have the framing of the camera set up a little bit differently for when you're actually drawing. So, half faces all around. Oboe crazy. I'd love to get the dungeon drugs in there. That would be sweet. Ace defective. Strahd boss when? Well, obviously we would have to have some kind of Ravenloft Strahd campaign in game in order for that to be a thing, and we haven't done that. So. And
then he would be the end boss, so it would be months.
And then it would be 8 months after that, or whatever. Yeah. 6 months after that. So, yeah. Will you ever consider putting in heroes that are not canon or heroes that haven't appeared in other D&D works previously? We already have, actually. Stokey and Krond are both Justin creations. So, yeah, that's a possibility. All right, so I hope this works properly. I'm just going to click this over to the tablet view so that everybody can see Kat's tablet screen. And then...
can I steal your mouse away now?
Yeah. I just need to
I don't
scroll
need the mouse
over
itself.
Over here. I just need to scroll down because we have some questions coming in for you, and I won't be able to scroll them as they come in.
Well, you can just ask me, and I can take take a quick break or something.
Yeah, but okay. So that, and then I have another chat window thing here. Okay, so now I can see the things.
All right.
Take it away.
Cool.
So yeah, I think the only thing I have to mention about us doing this right now is that like anything that we draw right now is not approved for the game.
It's not real. It's not going in the game.
Yeah.
I'm not doing like a new champion or anything. Don't get excited.
Oh, what are you doing?
Actually, I'm going to draw my character that I talked about the last time I was on the stream.
The warlock with the tentacles?
Yeah. I mean,
Sweet.
As a portrait, you're not going to see any tentacles, but that's the plan.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited about this.
Thanks. It's a little bit of a different setup, so things might
you're not drawing
be.
right on the screen?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got one of these tablets at home, so it's not like I've never used it, but it's all sizes are different and all this stuff, and I usually like have the keyboard, but all I really need is over here, so
you need me to go? Like, I could just leave and you can just take over.
No,
that might be easier.
I think I'll just do this sort of slow old school sort of style, I guess.
Cool.
So I guess to sort of preface I think I hit the mic. So these are a bunch of portraits that are in the game. You'll probably recognize some of them if you pay attention to the cinematics anyway.
That guy looks familiar. Was he in Nightmare Before Christmas?
It's Oogie Boogie's skinnier cousin.
Yeah.
Doesn't like bugs as much, just went straw. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do for today for you guys is draw one of these, or at least see as far as I can get on one of them. So what we usually do, like, I'm just working off an older file so that I have like examples of the style and stuff like that. And so you can sort of see that some of them, like these guys, are just NPCs that never appear, so I sketched them straight up by myself. And then these guys are enemies, so I take the monster file and blow it up and then draw over that and then redraw it.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna go down over here. There's nothing.
You know what the problem is with our spaces? Our chairs are too fucking big. Frickin' big.
Yeah.
Too big.
Yeah, chairs are big.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Yeah.
So tell us about your character while you're getting this rolling.
Okay, so she's a half-elf warlock, packed with a great old one. Boone is the tome. Right now, she's like the intelligent voice of reason of the party. And we recently we're a 4-player party. We play on the weekend. And we recently had 2 people change their characters. So now, like, the original party is just me and one other guy.
Do they die, or do they just re-roll, or?
One person re-rolled, and her character sort of split off from the rest of us and will probably show up later. And one of them, in fact, he ceased to exist. He drank
That's no good.
a de-aging potion because he was bored. Like, this was just a really annoying thing that the player did. But
yeah.
So the DM decided it would be some real consequences, and he kept failing Constitution saving throws and kept de-aging until, like, he was a child, and then he was a baby, and then he aged out of existence. So he's just gone.
Oh, he unwrote himself. That sucks.
Yeah. And so, in the actual, like, story of the game, he semi-recently lost an arm, and then when we went and met my patron in the Far Realm, they gave him a new arm with the requirement that he be my, like, protector knight, sort of.
Cool.
Which didn't
protect his investment, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Those shady patrons.
Which didn't end up super coming into play with, like, roleplay stuff, because as a group we're sort of still working on roleplay being more of a thing.
Yeah.
But so then that means that we just hit, like, level 10, so I'm I just got whatchamacallit, a certain spell, contact other plane.
Oh, okay.
So I keep trying to contact my patron to talk to him, to be like, hey, does he exist at all? Can you, like, feel him or whatever? But I've tried twice now, and both times I failed the saving throw and went insane. But both times it was, like, right before going to bed, so I was like, okay, just lock Tyrael in her room, just babble until tomorrow.
Huh. That's crazy. That's good stuff, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually playing my first Warlock ever in the Office campaign, and being a Hexblade went with the Pact of the Blade. Mm-hmm. I mean, I love spells and rituals and stuff, but I'm like, no, all swords, let's do this.
Yeah, Pact of the Blade looks so good with all the new stuff.
Yeah, the new what are they called? The new invocations related to it that they added in Xanathar's are pretty potent. I'm really looking forward to getting the Cloak of Flies or whatever, so that I have, like, a poison aura around me that increases intimidation. Yeah. All right. Can
I? Just a second. Okay, go ahead.
All right. This thing, I can't quite see it on the screen, but, like, we're just a little more. These cameras, the heads on these cameras are such a pain.
I imagine my face isn't going to be very interesting to look at while I'm drawing, because I'm just, like, concentrating and whatever, but...
Well, there. Now we're actually there. You can see us.
I think it's probably more that I get covered by the...
But you're also looking down at the
name thing, so...
Yeah.
Anyway. I see there's some questions piling up, so...
Yeah, let's do this.
Go ahead and ask me those.
All right, so let's see. First things first. Hybrid Dom. When it comes to equipment, do you just make stuff up, or does the equipment also have a specific Forgotten Realms lore?
Oh, crap. I need the mouse.
Okay.
Just a second. I gotta get the colors over here. Fine. Equipment, I very specifically do quite a bit of research into each character to do their equipment, because I care about lore. So, for example, Regis, I was listening to the stream, before coming over here, and...
the beret?
The beret, yeah. So, This is gonna end up being more sketchy than usual because it just this whole thing feels a little weird, but it's not important. It's not going in game. Yeah, so Adam obviously drew him without the beret because he didn't have the beret in the reference. But then looking him up on like Wikipedia and whatever, you know, we're not really supposed to use that as like a source, but I sort of use it as like a jumping off point usually. And because like, especially because when they're sourced properly to like the books that they're from, I feel like I can trust them. And we have...
Can I try?
Do you need that?
Let's see if I can.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Yeah. And then, like...
Just let go. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I can see the questions, too.
Yes. I only need that one. We don't need all of those. There we go.
Certainly, yeah, we want them. We want... The equipment's relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, again, for Regis, I guess Adam... when we were like, oh, we're gonna do Regis, what am I doing? This is all different. No, that's not what I want to do. What do I want to do? I want to expand. That's what I want to do. Okay. Illustrator is a weird, very picky program. My program of choice for like drawing for myself is Photoshop, just like drawing.
Just painting, just literally painting.
Yeah, drawing and sketching. Whereas this is all, you know, vector and...
I was never able to get the grasp of it myself.
It's definitely different. It wasn't as hard to learn as I thought it would be. Anyway, Regis, Adam... Yeah, he asked Wizards, I apparently, for, like, I guess, maybe advice or whatever on... equipment, and they came back with they actually didn't mention his beret, but they did mention
the ruby amulet was the big thing.
Yeah, but I mean that was already done because that was the obvious big thing. But no, what they mentioned and what got changed was the trout. I did not come up with that trout. They wanted the trout.
I never thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. They were like, oh, it's, you know, it's from, like, his hometown or whatever, and also part of his or his father's profession or something like that. I haven't read any of the books.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah, and then, like, Dritz, obviously, his swords are super important, so they each got their own. It also helped that they had really, really good references for him in particular.
Very detailed references of his character.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's been on the cover of like 30 books.
Yeah.
We have another question here from OMFG Tora. What character and background arts are you most proud of?
What am I most... There are definitely some portraits that I'm really proud of. I don't know how to do this without shortcuts. Some things might be a little weird. Like, thinking of it off the top of my head is really hard. I've also done some monsters, and so something I was just working on, I was getting some stuff to, like, edit because of all the time stuff we have to deal with. Sometimes we can't do everything from scratch. In fact, we can never do everything from scratch. But I was taking some stuff from the mad cultist of Cyric, who was a lady holding a book and with a dagger. And I was really happy with her. I think she was from one of the events, like Liar's Night or something.
Yeah, I forget which one the cultists were in. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
It starts to blur together after a while.
Yeah. And then there's the problem. I can think of a couple, but now I'm not sure if they've actually been released or not. So I don't want to say.
Yeah, no spoilers, Kat. Come on.
We do stuff so far in advance.
Then again, if you never want to be on stream again, that would be a good way to do it. Kat's not allowed on stream.
No.
She spoils everything before it comes out.
I had to save Alexis so she didn't have to come on stream.
Yeah. It's okay. I don't blame people for not wanting to be on stream. It's It's different, especially if you're doing your work on stream. And PB and Jotter mentioned that they like how you're not fazed by people watching you do this.
Oh, thanks. Actually, in early college, just after high school, I guess, I started live streaming on my own at home drawing. But just drawing in Photoshop and doing whatever. And I didn't keep it up because that's like the key to internet persona-age is consistency and stuff.
Yeah, you got to work at it.
Yeah,
Stream all the time.
But I did manage to get a little bit of a following because I was posting a lot on. It's actually a Pokemon forum. Braids. They kill me. Okay. Yeah, I was doing a bunch of Pokemon art and a lot of like requests and stuff, and I ended up getting this following, and they were all really cool and very funny, and sometimes I'd be streaming until 1 a.m. or something, and I wouldn't be doing anything that made any sense. I would just be doing what became affectionately known as the derp doodles. And it would just be like stuff that that came up in chat and stuff like that, because everybody obviously had their own like avatars and stuff, and so I got really good at drawing everybody and like drawing them really quickly.
There's a lot of Pokemon.
There are a lot of Pokemon. I've tried multiple times now to draw the entire Pokedex. Don't do that. It's bad. You're gonna have a bad time.
I just looked at the list and I'm like, nope.
Yeah, there's close to 900 now. Yeah.
God. I remember somebody posted a thing that they had drawn every version of every X-Men character from any of the comics, including villains, in order. And then they did all of them in like this chibi style. So right from issue 1 in like 1960, 1961 or whatever, and just like all the way to present day. And I kind of looked at the fact that they did it, and it's like you're impressed by the achievement just by itself, because like, that's dedication. Like you said, you're going to do that, and like sure enough, there's a bazillion of them. But it's like some of the variations are so minute.
Yes,
the differences, like they're just not that big of a change. So you just look at it, you're like, good Lord, like how many, like how do you stick with it to do that much?
Yeah.
Okay, so what else do we have here? Templar81 wants to know what your character's name is.
Tyrael. Tyrael Wynn Veldomaris.
Wynn is the middle name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's half-elf. Mother was a human. Father was an elf. Mother was white. Father's black. Because I think black elves are fun.
There aren't a lot of them either. So is it a specific subrace?
No, he's like a wood elf. And,
okay.
He just happens to be dark-skinned also. Yeah. Father was a researcher of the plains, and mother is an artificer. Father, well, her whole like backstory thing has to do with an experiment of her father's gone wrong, teleporting both of them to the far realm, and terrible things happening, and so he's been missing forever until we met my patron, and it turns out that my patron assimilated him, so patron is also dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it was a very cool session though.
Huh. That'd be trippy too. Even just thinking about that, because I remember you were mentioning it before, and it's like having to role play with your patron thing, and it's also, it is in every, it is your dad as well. It's just like, yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we got here? Draugr. Any plans on drawing some of your coworkers and putting them in game? Make a Dylan with a stuffy red nose. Oh, thanks.
Aw. I hope not. I really hate drawing caricatures. I don't draw caricatures, but I hate drawing real people. I'll draw myself because I can take as many liberties as I want, because I'm not going to offend anybody. I'm me. But I don't want to hurt people's feelings. And I had to draw just like headshots of everybody in the office for Eggbreaker when I first joined. That was a nightmare. And they still use them for stuff. I hate it. Oh, they're so bad. But
I haven't
I
seen
mean,
those. Where are they? Where can I find them?
Maybe I'll show you later.
Is Eggbreaker still alive?
You can play it, but it's not getting updates.
Oh, okay.
Like Nick still uses his as his. I think it's
That's
his
what those are
Gmail icon. Yeah. Those were me.
Okay.
A long time ago now. Like would have been at least 2 years.
Huh. Let's see. PB and Jotter, can Cat release a set of these samples for use as icons? Oh, so the character portraits? Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to do that. We'll have to get back to you on that one.
I'd be happy to. It's past now, but for Extra Life, if you donated $50, I would draw whoever you wanted in this style. And I got one person, and I drew it, and they're using it as their icon on Discord.
Sweet.
I would say they're using it, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Leon Koth or Lee. It's L-U.
Lucosia?
Perhaps.
Okay. So I bet if I go over to chat right now,
Do you want to know?
because the window disappeared for a second, because we just don't have enough monitors.
Yeah.
But I bet Lucosia is actually in chat. Yep.
Yeah.
Lucosia. Thanks, Kat. It's working out great. There
You're
go.
welcome. It was a lot of fun too. A very different character from all the D&D stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, people want you to do the Steam cards for the game.
Steam cards are already a thing. We have art for them. I don't know what the actual weight is on those.
I got the impression when I was asking Dave about it was that they weren't happy with what it was there, and I'm not sure that they had an idea yet of what they wanted to do to finish it.
That's weird because that art. I shouldn't say anything, I guess. I think it was good, and it was all done very specifically and then never used. Yeah.
Someday. Let's see what else we got. Why must I sign in? Have you thought about making it so you can switch among the different hat items so that if you unlocked one Bruner helmet, you can use it even if it's not the best? That's like a Dave Justin question. But I don't know that we've ever considered having it so that you could pick which items you were using.
I don't think so. I think they'd probably sort of scoff at that because, like, you always want to be using the best thing, right?
In theory, yeah.
That's the assumption.
Yeah. So I don't know that we can answer that. Why must I sign in? So perhaps next time. Thanatos. Kat, I really loved the blonde curly hair you showed me on the other screen. Is there any chance you could talk them into adjusting Regis's hair to be a little more curly? Oh, so for one of the other characters. I think there's a kid, the half-elf kid.
Yeah, he's up here.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Adam does the champions, and we try obviously to have our styles sort of meld and have the game have its own style as a whole, but we each have our own styles, right? Like, I probably shouldn't really point it out, but Adam did these two, and then I did all the rest of them, and I guess it sort of depends on how much you know about art or care, but you can tell there's a difference. So yeah, so he does all those. I have no say in it. I guess that's just the way he does curly hair. Like, I, for the last couple years, have been focusing on my own, like, art stuff on diversifying, like, figuring out how to draw, like, African American hair, because it's a completely different texture and styles and all that kind of stuff. So that's something I'm super conscious of.
So when you were talking about diversifying it, like, what did you find was the most challenging thing to shift? Well,
drawing black hair, honestly, because it's so different, and like all of the drawing tutorials and whatever that you get, they're all like, oh, you draw like this, and here's your hair, and here's all the strands and stuff, and like black hair doesn't work like that. It's all like kinky and curly, and then you have to figure out and you can sort of work at it, but then it takes a lot longer, so then it's also like, especially so like my background, I guess, is like a comic artist, so part of it is trying to figure out how to draw it more quickly as well.
Yeah.
Because you can spend forever on hair, or anything, but if you want to get something done, you have to figure out how to do that.
Fair enough. So Lisa wants to know whether you pick colors randomly to what suits your task, or if you use specific hex codes to exactly match the color scheme.
No, hex codes are not a thing for me anyway. I just, does it? Yeah, I have my palette. I look around until something vaguely looks the color that I want it to be, and for this character especially, she's got a design. I've drawn her before. Mm-hmm. After the stream, I'll post on the Discord her character turnaround that I did when I first started playing her. So she's got a color scheme in my head already, but like this is my style of doing like the work in Illustrator. I know Adam does everything in black and white and then does color later.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just we're you just different, man.
Huh. PB and Jotter wants to know if the first outline you created is a different layer, like
yes.
how you're layering out all this.
Yeah, the sketch is a layer, and there's that little other layer. So you can see, just starting. It's a lot more jaggy than usual, I think, just because this is a different setup. But
it's all good. You definitely get when you have your setup the way that you like. Mm-hmm. Like when your streaming room is set up for you before somebody else comes in and installs other stuff and you move everything around. You get used to things being a certain way.
Yeah.
That's a huge impact on your flow.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so speaking of light Bodhi, it's like I gotta say the ding from Illustrator is really messing with my workflow, but I love listening to you guys. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Alrighty. Stills 101. Which graphics tablet do you use and why did you choose that one?
I didn't choose. I got the leftovers. So we have a handful of different tablets out in the office. We use Cintiqs, so like I would be drawing right on the screen. The one in here is just this doesn't look like an Intuos 4 because that's what I have, but it's something close to that. I couldn't tell you the brand. Well, I can. It's Wacom. Everything's Wacom because they are the best. But I couldn't tell you the model, is what I should say, of any of them. Like Corey, I know, is using his own from home, so it's like the biggest fancy thing because he's super big on tech.
Does seem to be where his money goes.
Yeah. And like Adam, being the lead artist, gets first pick, so his is like the best. And then Alexis has the next best. And then
is it a seniority thing?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Because so we got another new one. It might have been around when Bob came to work for us. We got and then it turned out he didn't want a Wacom or a Cintiq. But so we got another new one that wasn't like the ones that me, Michelle, and Georgia have, the old ones, which aren't even widescreen. They're square, and they're gray. And they have a like protective film over it that's scratched all the hell because they've been used for years. Mm-hmm. It's kind of terrible, especially if you have a lot of like lighting glare.
Can you not replace those films?
Maybe. We sort of tried to pull it off once and it was looking bad, and so now mine just has this big corner flopping off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so when the new one came in and Adam tried to be like, hey, Corey, you use your one from home, right? So Kat can have this new one. And Corey was like, no, if I can take mine home, I'm good. So then he got that one. So he's actually not using the one from home. I forgot about that happening.
Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, when you get a second, I'm gonna scroll down because we're through those questions.
Okay, just a second.
There's more questions.
Go ahead.
So OG17 is asking whether or not it was overlooked, but Jarlaxle's portrait hasn't been updated to use the better detailed full body art.
Oh, that is a thing. I know we got Minsk's updated when people were pointing out that no, Boo's not there because he was just like a blob.
Oh yeah, it didn't really show up. Yeah.
Yeah, so that could theoretically be updated. Yeah, I guess could you like make a note of that or something, or somebody?
Yeah, actually, I can just. There we go. The stars are there.
It has been double noted. All right, great.
Rauch RB. how did you start out drawing, and how long have you been drawing as a profession?
Well, I've basically been drawing, you know, stereotypically drawing as soon as I could hold a pencil. Always been drawing since I was a kid. Well, that's wrong. And so I am one of the lucky ones that my family was super supportive of drawing as a profession even. My mom specifically, because she always felt that her dad didn't really let her do what she wanted to do, so she wanted to let me do whatever I wanted to do, which is super nice. And then, you know, I just kept drawing as a child, doing child drawing stuff. And I know for a long time my grandparents would offer, like, oh, we can, you know, pay for classes and stuff. No, I don't want to learn. I'm teaching myself or whatever. And for a little while, like, I tried some of those, like, how to draw manga books and stuff like that. I'm going to steal this for a sec, if I can. Because now that I've basically got the lines, I want to fix everything. Nope. Nope. There we go. Okay.
I find with this keyboard, everything's off shifted because it's got the hotkeys on the side. So
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. I am terrible at typing on it.
Anyway, sorry guys. It just working and writing or talking is a little harder than you may think. So in high school, I would say, is when I started to get really more serious. Like, when I was my decision to be like, yes, art is the thing, it's what I'm gonna do forever, no one can stop me, yada yada yada. I was 12. I was 12 and I was refusing to go to school. I basically skipped out on middle school. And I just
You skipped middle school?
I did. I tried doing homeschooling through sides. This is another thing I don't know how to do without shortcuts. This is so weird. Okay. Yeah, I tried homeschooling, and it just super didn't work out. So I essentially skipped middle school. And just so people know, as far as this drawing is going, things are going to look really weird for a little while I fill in the colors. So by high school, that's the wrong tool. By high school, I was really taking it seriously, and my family was, Jesus, I don't know why it's doing that. That's a setting in Illustrator that I don't really have time to look around and try and figure out, so I'm just going to do my best. Yeah, so in high school, I took art, obviously, as an elective. I took all of the art classes possible, because, you know, there's drawing and painting and ceramics and all these other things, but it sort of turned out they were all taught by the same person, so they just ended up, like, after the first 3 or 4 of them, it was like, okay, well, I know you know how to draw, so you can just do whatever you want. And then I started taking, what's the word? Abstract painting classes from just, like, a local artist, which, like, abstract art is really not my jam, but it was, you know, it was a recommendation from somebody that I trust and know and whatever, and it was a, you know, a way to grow and all that sort of thing. And from there, like, I took a year off of high school before going to college, and then I wanted to go do the visual arts program at Camosun College here on the island, and they were, that's the wrong tool again. It was full up, so I was on a waiting list for a year, and during that year I just took random classes around the college that I was interested in. So like history of film and psychology and criminology, a couple other things. And keep doing that. Then, when my waiting was over, I did the visual arts program, which is a 2-year foundation course doing all sorts of medias and styles and stuff, and they really did not look kindly on like this style, like cartoony or illustration in general. It was very much like a high art environment, all like preparing for galleries and all that nonsense that I don't super care about. So there was a fair bit of struggle, but like I really enjoyed my time there. I had some really, really good classmates and teachers, and you know, I don't regret it or anything like that. So that was 2 years, and then when that was done, the comic program came into existence at some point while I was there, taught by Ken and Joan, who we work with occasionally, including for our Idol Champions.
Yeah.
And so they teach that, and I took that. That was a year, and it's sort of like a semi-specialist program because it's comics very specifically. And that was really great. And then directly out of that, we do a little convention at the end of it where we each have a table and we're selling the comic that we made that year.
Yeah.
And it was there that I first met Eric, although I don't remember meeting him because, you know, I talked to so many people and he wasn't one of the ones who bought my comic, so he's not one of the ones I remember. But then, like a month later, I just got an email out of the blue from Eric being like, do you want to come work in video games? I was like, yes, of course. So that kind of spiraled into how I got into the industry as well. But
cool. I'm just going to do a quick check here.
Yes.
Because this is still going. Okay, that's fine. And then, let's see what time is it? 2:37. So because we forgot to announce the other giveaways during our rousing conversation earlier, the final giveaway is coming up in a couple of minutes here. And wait until the Codename Entertainment account says that it's going before spamming raffle, because otherwise we can't read any of the questions. So, yeah. All right. Oh, this is an interesting one. Yinzer, any tips or resources for young artists? My son is 5 and he loves to draw your portraits and profiles from the game.
Aww.
He's drawn them all and a bunch of monsters. It totally freaks out his kindergarten teacher.
That's amazing. I think at that age, it's just draw. Like, let him draw. I assume you do. Let him draw whatever he wants. Drawing from life is great. And if he's drawing the stuff that he sees and likes, that's also great. Like, you know, as a kid, you just draw what you like. I can definitely remember very specifically, maybe 10, and I had like VHS tapes of Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, and I would pause them on a frame I really liked, and I would eyeball that frame. So, you know, you definitely learn from that. Don't trace, I would say that. Try not to let him trace things ever. Eyeballing is one thing, and it's kind of iffy, but like drawing from life, like drawing a human person from life, is the best way to learn. But yeah, at 5, man, all I can say is just draw, encourage. It's great. I'm so happy.
Don't let all the teachers tell him not to do it.
Yeah, if teachers are like, oh, he's drawing when he should be paying attention or whatever, like that's one thing. And even then, it's kind of like, well, if it's what he wants to do, then I think he should do it. But, yeah, I don't know about, like, any parenting advice, because I'm absolutely not parent type, but as far as from the artist perspective, that's what I got. This is unfortunate.
No worries. Garwar is asking about the idea of having different mouse cursors in game, which is actually something that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Like maybe some hand-drawn ones. You know, or a cursor inspired by the deity you're getting favor from.
That'd be kind of neat. I mean, in theory, a cursor wouldn't be hard to draw. Like, it doesn't have animation and it's pretty small. It's all down to like time, and then I don't know anything about the programming side of it, so that might just actually be too hard. I have no idea.
Yeah, me either.
On that note, kind of, because I was listening earlier, and I've seen people have mentioned a few times about, oh, I really want custom characters in the game. It's real hard, you guys. So just to consider, if we were going to make you guys some kind of custom character creator, we would have to so if you think of the, oh Jesus, if you think of a champion in the game and the way that they're animated and set up, you know, they're on like it's not a rig because we don't have a rig, we have to put it back together every time by hand. But that's sort of the idea of a rig, in that they're all bipedal humanoids. They all move in more or less the same sort of idea of a way. Just keep it like that. See if I can manage.
Might have been easier if we actually swapped seats and just I was off to the side.
Well, you know, next time.
In retrospect.
Yeah. Yeah. I could probably go on about it, but basically it's real hard. We would have to make so many variations of all sorts of things where, you know, when we're drawing a character, we draw for that character. We don't draw 5 different hairstyles and pick the best one. And it's also just down to the nature of the game, and especially the nature of our content creation schedule. Everything is super jam-packed. Dylan was not exaggerating or lying when he said we are busy butts. So, you know, you can hope as much as you want. I agree it would be super cool. Especially as a D&D game, you know, you would think, well, my D&D character is the one I care about the most. I want her to be in the game, or him, or them. But that's just not the type of game that we decided to make, basically. That's all. Rant over. It would be real hard. Think of the artists.
Yeah, well, it's the people think of games like Divinity, and it's like you can do a million things to your character. I'm like, yes, you can, and I'm sure the crazy enormous team they had took a long time to put that together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are a small team. I didn't even realize how small we were until I was talking to Clive the other day, and he sort of casually mentioned once talking in front of 500 other people, and I was like, oh man, yeah, doing something for like a performance or at an auditorium is definitely one thing. And he was like, no, this was for work. This was like 500 coworkers at EA, and I was like, what?
Yeah, Clive used to work for the enemy.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Yeah, way back.
He has since been cleansed. Anyway, you can ask something else if there's something else out there.
Some more people asking about custom characters. What about more distractions?
Distractions are coming. You know, at some point. It's a thing we wanted to do, have wanted to do. We're working on it, basically.
People want to be more active with their idle play.
Oh, I can't speak to that. I guess if to take away anything from we want custom characters, as Dylan has said, make enough of a ruckus, maybe people will listen to you.
It's true.
Like, I could see it being something we might do after, like, well, it would be kind of presumptuous, but presuming, and this is in no way the plan, I don't even know, but presuming we did this Crusaders of the Lost Idols style, and events became a yearly repeat with, like, a new champion, but not a whole slew of new backgrounds and enemies and portraits and stuff like that, then maybe we would have some art time freed up to do things like that. Maybe.
Ace Defective gets it. Wouldn't custom characters defeat the point of the game? Kind of.
Yeah. Sort of the idea was to
These are the champions of the Forgotten Realms, not the champions of X, Y, and Z's homebrew campaigns.
yeah. Why did this happen? Oh dear. I think the tablet disconnected or something. My pressure sensitivity is gone. I can't work without my pressure sensitivity. Okay, that's working.
I think it's just the weight of this thing sitting on top of it.
Yeah, maybe. I did see the high CPU usage come up for a second, so
Yeah.
it might have just freaked out. It does that. Yeah.
That's gonna be my new channel, XYZ's homebrew channel. No complaints there. Keep it. That's a good name. Do you guys get any complaints from animal rights groups? I mean, there are lots of ravens getting slaughtered each day and looted, and they're forced to carry so many tons of gold. It's kind of funny.
Thankfully, I think they have better things to do.
I feel like they're busy these days.
So, I feel like this isn't a especially good example of...
Yeah, but how much time do you normally get for one of your portraits?
You know, I'm not rushing, but it's just this setup is so different. Everything looks pretty off. So, it's just disclaimer, you know. But this is definitely the workflow. You know, sketch first, and then the lines. And the way that I do it is I do lines by color. I know Adam does it black and white first. Everybody has their own thing, you know. And then after lines, usually I'll tighten up the lines first, which is the whole Illustrator bag of, like, going in, there we go. You can see all the anchor points, and, like, first deleting all of the superfluous points, which is, like...
Time consuming,
and it's most of them. And honestly, that's where the most time...
making the lines more fine.
Yeah, which is so obnoxious. It's my least favorite part of working in Illustrator. You don't have to do this shit when you're just drawing.
Well, it's kind of like when you're inking an actual drawing that you've sketched out first.
No. No, it's not.
But you're trying to add the fine line.
I guess, but it's nowhere near as painful or time consuming.
No, it's true. I wouldn't describe this as a fun part. It doesn't look fun.
No. I like inking. This is really technical, I guess. Anyway, I'm not going to do it for this because obviously we don't have the time, and I hate it.
Oh yeah, we've only got like another 6 or 7 minutes. So
yeah. And then block in the color, and then do the shading. This is way too pale, but I'm not going to futz with it now. And shading is like a whole conversation you can have.
Oh yeah.
That I'm not really going to. I will say, I do lurk on the Discord. I don't talk basically ever just because I don't play the game a ton. I mostly play it at work. And so I don't have anything to contribute as far as like formation strategy or bugs and all that kind of stuff. But if you have like an art question, feel free to like @ me or DM me on Twitter, or well, you could if you wanted. I am on Twitter, but on Discord. So there's that. And here, at least, a sort of general rule is 2 colors is the max for shading.
That's like a style rule for the game.
Yeah, except for faces. So you can see for under her eyes, specific to this character because she's a warlock, she doesn't get much sleep, that kind of stuff. But for all portraits, the nose shadow and inside the ears, and usually the under the chin shadow, is like the 3rd shade, and that's where the rule is broken slightly, but that's it.
I remember getting a bit of an idea of some of the rules when I was going through some of the, just like browsing through the old, the older documents on the archive.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the ones for when the style was being created. It's pretty interesting.
Especially after Crusaders, because it was sort of this hodgepodge project that just sort of happened. So I know Adam for sure was like, we need to actually have an art style for this and not just be throwing together
that's totally true.
old assets, especially if you're doing this like a whole new game. That's way too bright, but who cares? Shiny. And actually, that's the other place where the rule is broken. For metal things, they get a brighter color for shiny stuff. But, so, you know, in general, that's the idea. So, like, you can see even from this distance that all the lines are wiggly and weird.
Yeah, well, you can see, like, in the skeleton one, especially, where, like, they've been sharpened out and everything looks more...
and the finishing touches that go on to portraits that I'm not going to do is look at the skeleton, because he's fun. Just select the whole thing, the whole layer, and make one of these. And this is just an outline done by just doing the like stroke function of Illustrator, and it's just this vaguely light blue. It's like a 3.8, and it always goes on these little this little gradient, this guy. And that is really the whole thing. Yeah, obviously these are some old ones, as I mentioned in the beginning.
I'm gonna make a note in my book to remove the error messages on this computer. It's the first thing I do every time I install an operating system on my computer is get rid of all the error sounds, and I just never thought about doing it on this one.
Yeah.
Kill sound.
Kill sound. Yeah, so like I said, if people have art-related questions, at me on Discord, or DM me on Discord, or I'm on Twitter at
I actually have it underneath your name on this one.
Perfect.
Check it out. Oh God.
Yeah, that's me. That's on Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram. They're all the same name. I'm most active on Tumblr, I guess. But like, if you want to go there to see my own art, it's basically the same in every place. It all gets like cross-posted. Yeah.
Sweet. That seems like a good segue to wrapping everything up.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. You can see there in the background now. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining us, and thanks to Wizards of the Coast and the Dungeons and Dragons team for allowing us the use of their awesome Twitch channel. I mean, really, at this point, I think the only thing coming up on today's schedule on this channel is Critical Role at 7 p.m. So yeah, hang out until then. I hope you all had fun. Thanks for playing, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Bye.